Welcome to Figuring It Out, a podcast designed to help entrepreneurs, creatives, leaders, and marketers to master their crafts, grow their businesses, and find a balance between their personal and professional lives. I'm Kevin England, proud founder and CEO of Amazon, a digital marketing, advertising, and media agency based in Southern California and serving clients worldwide. In each episode, we cover a variety of topics while sharing stories from myself and many others. So let's dive in and figure it out together. Today, we're tackling the topic of digital transformation, or DX for short. And by the way, I will reference DX throughout this entire podcast. Just remember that it stands for digital transformation. I want to talk about the questions that many brands have been asking in the wake of last year's dramatic changes in the way we used, or maybe even misused, technology to thrive in what my team likes to call the year of the life preserver. Now, I'll explain that a little further as we go on in the podcast, but just keep that in mind. The questions I hear and respond to on a daily basis, either through the podcast or with my customers, are as follows. Things like, should I be using the tools and apps that we grabbed onto to stay afloat, there's the life preserver, when everything went remote? What tools will help me and my team be more productive moving forward? And other questions like, how can I do more than just survive, but actually thrive and accelerate my digital transformation and come back even stronger now that businesses are starting to boom and competition is actually starting to heat up? Well, don't worry. We'll answer all of those questions and many more throughout this podcast. But first, I want you to know that you're not alone. COVID-19 drove DX big time for so many businesses this past year. In fact, 96% of business leaders said the pandemic sped up their digital transformation by an average of 5.3 years. And 55% of digital leaders increased their 2021 tech spend as a result of COVID-19. And that's really just the beginning. I mean, think about it. More companies deployed a completely remote workforce. And I will bet you know someone if you weren't part of a team that went home. Retail companies and many businesses on the supply chain engaged customers via contactless delivery for the first time ever. And the only way they were able to do that was to embrace technology. It all hinged on adapting and adopting new digital tools. According to a Tech Systems digital transformation report, there was actually a direct connection between the success during the crisis and the maturity of an organization's digital transformation prior to the pandemic. The mandate was clear in 2020. Adapt, be agile, and pivot through the crisis and accelerate your digital transformation, or shut down and shutter. And nobody wants that. Now, things are certainly looking up, but if 2020 taught us anything, it's that challenges are not going away. COVID was just the latest and absolutely the biggest crisis to impact us personally and professionally. It shifted how we view and do business. Let's put it another way. We now live and do business in what management professionals are calling the VUCA world. Yeah, it's a real thing. Look it up. I'll break it down though. So VUCA, V-U-C-A, stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And I'll start with the first one. So volatility, the speed of change in an industry, in a marketplace, or in the world in general. Uncertainty, the extent to which we can confidently predict the future. And since none of us have a crystal ball, I doubt any of us can actually do that. Complexity, the number of factors that we need to assess a complex set of variables. And ambiguity, a lack of clarity about how to interpret something. The translation, to survive and thrive in today's VUCA world, we need to counter it with another VUCA. And I'll get into that as well. That starts with vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. So we'll start with vision. Okay, tap into something bigger. For example, like your company culture, your organizational culture. Understanding, know how to harness the latest technology. Clarity, streamline and simplify by integrating your technological platforms together. And agility, remain nimble and leverage adaptability. If you can do all these things, you can accelerate and innovate through any type of change curve, no matter what's next on the horizon. So let's try and unpack and dig deeper into DX. So what is digital transformation exactly? Well, it's adopting digital technology to change the way we work and how we get things done. That includes using software and tools to transform your services by replacing non-digital or even manual processes with digital ones, or replacing older, outdated technology with, you got it, new technology. Kind of like swapping out your old Excel accounting process and spreadsheets for a cloud-based ERP system like NetSuite or Acumatica, which integrates other software into your tech stack. I love the word tech stack, by the way. It says so much, and it sounds so darn impressive. You know, it's kind of this nice and shiny little thing, this tech stack. Well, let me tell you, tech can be a trap. I know this is really strange coming from a guy who has built his entire career on software solutions and technology. But hold on, I'll explain further, and I'll use a couple of quotes from some other members. We'll start with Melissa Swift. She's a leader of the digital advisory unit from Korn Ferry, and she says, and I quote, "We see some fundamental disconnects between business goals and technology investments when companies start chasing the shiny little objects, technology." Another quote, "Digital transformation is critical to remain competitive. But some companies focus on only one piece of the puzzle. True digital transformation is based on the full adoption of three different elements: culture, process, and technology." And that was said by Red Hat. So the point I'm trying to make is true digital transformation is all about making big picture, core changes in your company's operations to increase efficiency and experiences to get those big gains that we all want. You can't just do it, for example, by, plugging Zoom or Stack or Teams into your employee productivity or even client relations toolkit. That just won't get the job done. It requires a total alignment across an entire business, your entire business, from your decision-making processes to operations to how you review and generate business insights based on data that you're bringing in from a disparate variety of different technologies. If you're able to align your people, your processes, and your programs, then you're on your way to some amazing benefits through true and total digital transformation. So let's talk about the benefits, since I mentioned it. I'm not just picking buzzwords out of thin air today. DX is full of real-time implications. Google Trends ranking digital transformation as 27 out of 100 this time last year. And it's jumped to 91 out of 100 so far in 2021. So obviously, digital transformation is a hot topic. And here's why digital transformation is vital for both your success and your company's success. You ready? Here we go. 40% of business leaders report significant improvement in revenue growth through digital transformation. 30% report increases in operational efficiency. 35% report increases in customer retention and loyalty. 33% report improvement in employee satisfaction, and 31% report increased productivity and profitability. Think of all of that. That's amazing. That's just the beginning. Benefits also include integration with other business systems and interoperability with your already deployed technology. It also results in better real-time analytics and business intelligence reporting across the board. I mean, this all sounds amazing. I would hope you think so. But listen, there is a cost to cramming 5 or 10 years worth of digital transformation into literally 1 or 2 quarters, which is what so many businesses did last year. One of the most obvious downsides was that software sales skyrocketed last March because of what we want to call the big tech grab. Businesses were desperate for a quick fix and for immediate needs. And many ended up picking short-term solutions over more strategic ones. And why did they do that? Well, they had no choice. And many of them were left stuck with a system that it did not integrate well with their existing tech stack or didn't scale well. And oftentimes they would purchase into a system that cost too much because they needed to stay afloat. We all did that. But there's some good news associated to it. We're past the fight or flight stage of the pandemic as it pertains to business. We no longer are victims of the moment. So instead of being reactive, we now can be proactive in the way that propels us out of the past, beyond the present, and into a more scalable and productive future. In other words, digital transformation isn't a Band-Aid. It's not a one-off tactic. It's strategic. It's a strategy. And it's going to teach you how to develop out and be more revolutionary in your process. And today we're going to talk about that a little further. But first, I want to talk a little bit about how my team and how we were able to prioritize strategic development during last year's, I would say, unforeseeable chaos that we all had to deal with. First thing we did, we acted fast. We redirected our efforts and we dove right in because we had to pull our clients out of the deep end. Within hours of lockdown here in California and across the United States, we did the following. We hosted our phone system in the cloud. We secured access to our data through SharePoint and Google Drive. We threw out our desktop computers for mobile-friendly laptops and mobility. We upgraded our project management system in the preparation of everybody going remote. We added a time and billing product with an AI component associated to it. We instituted remote IT support. We updated our remote work policy, and we revised our job duties, and then basically sent everyone home. Each of us had to go through something similar like that. And sure, it was a scramble. And yes, we experienced some roadblocks and even some meltdowns along the way. But if you know me, you know that I implement a workplace environment where innovation and thinking on the spot is not only welcome, it's centered in everything that we do. So instead of panicking, I became the leader that I knew my team needed. I guided them amidst the chaos by encouraging them to step up to the challenges of the real world and figure it out. While the world suddenly went into pause, we here at Vonazon knew that we had to take more action than ever before because we had clients who were relying on us to help them navigate through this uncertainty. We knew that our clients were either using whatever tools were right in front of them or searching for new technology that they needed. And in many cases, calling us for our recommendations. They were coming to us for answers for some of the same issues that we were facing ourselves. And we didn't have the luxury to simply say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't know. Because here at Vonazon, we pride ourselves on being able to keep our word, and we knew that we had to do something different. We had to be able to support everything and anything that we recommended. We all know, by the way, that pressure makes diamonds. And if you don't know that, look it up. You should Google it. So we became experts in the span of a few weeks because we had clients that were counting on us. Employee management, project management became an integral part of our internal and our external daily requirements. Products like Asana, Jira, Trello, ClickUp, Monday.com, and dozens more were implemented within our daily operations, not only for us, but also for our customers. We had to learn about technology more than we ever had to before in a very short period of time. And needless to say, we pushed the figure it out mindset to the breaking point. For example, a client of ours in the architecture, engineering, and construction space, AEC, needed a complete project management integration with their newly purchased marketing automation platform. So we burned the midnight oil and got our key account managers and our tech team to familiarize themselves with several different platforms. And fortunately, I have these self-motivators that work for me. So they were able to rise to the occasion and achieve a heightened level of success for our clients. My accolades go off to my entire team here at Vonazon because we were able to cram months of knowledge and certifications into just a few weeks, and sometimes even a few days. When the walls around you are caving in, your team needs to be able to step up and work together cohesively, perhaps even stronger than ever before. And it's like the old saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work. All right. However, digital transformation doesn't have to be such an all hands on deck, last minute emergency drill. There are steps you can take to apply and make it more seamless and successful. It really comes down to these 3 Ps: people, process, and platforms. And I know that's an oversimplification. So I'm going to break it down even further. You can unleash the power of digital transformation without the growing pains that we've all experienced over the past year. And I'll start off by this first thing. Number 1, create a culture of transformation. 86% of leaders agree that digital transformation requires the right mix of culture, process, and technology. But here's the cincher. 63% cite culture changes as their biggest challenge. George Westerman, a principal research scientist at MIT Sloan Management School, said, and I quote, "Transformation isn't just a project. It's something that must become part of our organizational being." That means putting a culture in place so that transformation becomes a natural way of being. So how do we do that? Well, I've touched upon this, as far as workplace culture in a previous podcast. And I'll leave that in the description below so you can link to it. But the truth is that leaders who encourage what I like to call the figure it outitude, try and push change and transformation initiatives through organizations. But this sort of a leadership, by pushing that change through, cannot be forced. Culture is something that our company's values and missions, and focusing on the values and missions of your company. Things like collaboration and teamwork, transparency and adaptability are all part of that same process. And ultimately, your company's culture is what cultivates modern day leaders who aren't afraid of sudden change. Number 2, activate change agents. 76% of business transformations fail. And the reason, according to a BCG report, and by the way, this report is called A Leader's Guide to Always On Transformation, if you want to look it up, is that they fail to nail the people component. In fact, according to an annual Edelman Trust Barometer, employees drive performance. Transformation that effectively shifts people's behaviors and mindset are 8 times more likely to succeed. Here at Vonazon, we activate change agents by appointing innovative employees to support and manage transformation. They help spark positive culture change and creativity. Because if you aren't leading with your employees, you're hindering their ability to welcome change. And number 3, formalize processes and training. All right, so now we're going to end up on a little bit more of a techie type of realm. You can't push digital transformation without modernizing your process. This means that you must implement some training initiatives throughout your workforce. Since remote work became standard over this past year, a practical application of this would be to facilitate better collaboration across all departments. According to TechSystem, 33% of digital transformation programs include training and development for employees in the new technology that you're trying to roll out. But training is a tactic, not a strategy. A more strategic approach is to empower your employees with a culture of continuous learning and upskilling. For example, to help our clients through the past year of digital transformation, we identified the platforms that our clients were using. and the skills and the expertise needed to execute on those platforms. Then we accommodated our clientele by training our staff in the platforms and getting them certified so that we can support them. Number 4 is to integrate and scale. Changing the business while operating is really, really difficult. I used to have this client, and she would continuously say this same phrase to me all the time. We are all painting an airplane in flight, which is actually not possible. And it's absolutely crazy, but she would always get her point across. And in this fast-paced world where you won't be successful unless you can rinse and repeat your processes, this goes back to instilling a culture of change, empowering employees, and implementing sustainable processes and training methodologies. Let's be honest, sometimes that's not even enough. And let me give you an example. We here at Vonazon had to learn so fast and adjust so quickly last year that we had no choice but to outsource what we didn't have resources internally for. As anybody who has ever worked for me will tell you, that is not something that I've ever wanted to do in the past. But I learned that outsourcing has its benefits, since you get an immediate expert without months or even years of training. And in many cases, your total cost of engagement is even lower, which increases profitability, employee retention, and customer satisfaction. Vonazon now has remote employees working for us in every single department, all because we scaled quickly and in a situation that disrupted the entire workplace environment pretty much as we know it. Before COVID, we were all located in California. Now we're all over the United States, and we're stronger for it. So far, I've spoken about how you can integrate transformation into your employee culture and business operation. Now let's delve further into the technological aspect of that. Technology is at its best when it's integrated. Operations, marketing, sales, accounting, customer service, etc. Each department requires a different type of technology, and there's a different platform or SaaS solution for every phase of your business. And the challenge is to integrate them all together into one tech stack. There's that word again. If you don't have a technological integration strategy, then you will have a difficult time scaling your operation, and you'll find your business is much less efficient. So to wrap it all up, I'd like to call to attention some of the common mistakes that you should avoid on your digital transformation journey. One of the biggest mistakes that companies make, or even made during the tech grab of 2020, was implementing applications that could not easily integrate with their existing platforms that they were already utilizing. In fact, I'm working with a client right now that made the decision to buy the biggest CRM out there, and thought just because they were the biggest application that would be the best fit for their business. But then they quickly realized that it wasn't the best solution for their business, and that it didn't integrate with their existing tech stack at all. And now, after spending literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're looking to scrap one application for another that's a better fit for their business and has more sustainable integration path. It just goes to show that one size doesn't fit all, and that bigger is not always better. I'm going to give you kind of a great example of a product that I think is doing an amazing job. HubSpot has been very smart in building their platform. They constructed it into one SaaS-based application that they have enhanced solutions for sales, marketing, customer service, e-commerce, operations, web dev, content management, and so much more. And with the new launch of their Operations Hub, they've created a native integration path to hundreds of disparate applications across a variety of different industries. This platform is designed to help companies integrate their departments, process methodologies, and tech stack, literally all in one application. All right, so let me leave you with one more thing to ponder over. The biggest mistake that you can make is to stick with what you have and or do nothing. If you did nothing during the pandemic, you're probably realizing that it's been a very difficult way and you could not stay afloat, much less thrive or survive. Nobody wants to get left behind. So I suggest you adopt a figure it attitude and kickstart your digital transformation so that you can bounce back stronger as the economy continues to grow. When times get tough, it's not wise to stop in your tracks. You have to find a way to keep going. This week's Move Your Feet moment is that I want to challenge you to think about how you can empower your employees as change agents. It could be as simple as recognizing someone today for their innovative mindset, or it could be even removing an obstacle that's in their path to help them feel more empowered. So until next time, I'm Kevin England, and keep figuring it out.